So it was Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. The night before my daughter got in a car accident, I went that morning about 10 o'clock to check on her car, see how bad the damage was, see what had happened to it. I got to her house, got out of my car, took 2 steps and collapsed. Fortunately, there was a guy driving by on the street that saw me go down. I was partially laying on the street. He stopped his car on the street so I wouldn't get ran over. He got out, checked on me, saw that I had died, and called 911. About, I'm gonna say 8 minutes later, 3 firemen showed up from Springfield Fire Department, 2 EMTs from Medics First. They gave me CPR for 22 minutes, paddle shocked me 9 times, and at the end of those 22 minutes, my heart finally started again. Between the 8 minutes for first responders to get there and the 22 minutes that they worked on me, I was without a heartbeat for 30 minutes.
Statistically, 9 in 10 people do not survive a sudden cardiac arrest. In 2022, things started to transition for us. We started using some amazing science-based technology. We started training harder, more frequently, and we started co-training with other first responder agencies like the Springfield Fire Department. Where things really changed in the last 3 years is we've really slowed down. And when we get to a cardiac arrest now, we are very calculated and step by step what we're going to do and who's going to do what. It's truly a pit crew approach to resuscitation. Everyone has a role. The partnership with Springfield Fire Department and Medics First, we've actually seen that 10% survival rate improve to about 18%.
So I was put in a medically induced coma for 48 hours. My family was told that I would probably not make it. The next day I woke up early, was talking, asking questions, and it was a miracle. I took CPR several years ago, certified, all that, but it's been several years, and honestly, once my ribs and everything heal up enough that I feel like I can do it again, I'm definitely taking a refresher course. Because if it weren't for that, you know, between the Springfield Fire Department and Ken and Luke at Medics First, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be here. I would not be alive, and I owe everything to them. Also to the guy that stopped. I mean, he did not have to stop and help me. And that guy made a concerted effort to check on me. Because had he not stopped to check on me and people would have just driven by and saw me laying there and not known what had happened to me, there's no way I would have made it back.
So when the 911 call comes in that it is cardiac in nature, that does put all of us on a high alert. Unfortunately, when you arrive on these calls, there's about 1,000 different things that you need to be doing, and they need to be done very quickly. And so working through that algorithm together as a team is very important for us. I've been on the Springfield Fire Department for 12 years, and in my time, I've seen numerous changes to our responses in cardiac events.
I've been on the job for 3 years, and even from when I first came on, we started that pit crew CPR. But adding in the rescue pump and the rescue pod, it has increased getting ROS back on patients. And so seeing technology like that come in and make a difference, and we can see it in our data, really gives us confidence in what we're doing on the streets.
We decided to implement the Race to the Top program that Peoria essentially invented. We brought all the equipment down. We started training internally. We saw the opportunity to donate the equipment to Springfield Fire. We participated in joint trainings and drilling, so we were all on the same page, and that's really shown improvements in our survivability.
After I got out of the hospital, you know, I was intent on thanking the people that saved me. And I found out, you know, who the firefighters were. I found out what shift they were working. And I went to the firehouse, knocked on the door.
We actually had a knock on the door about 2 weeks after Brad's incident, and I couldn't believe it, but Brad was at our back door and was coming to say hi and say thank you. The last time I saw him was when we were doing CPR. Kind of thought we'd seen a ghost there for a minute, but it was good to see him up and moving and smiling and feeling good. So the volume of calls that we go on, you get pretty focused on just doing your job, but you have to remember each one of those calls is somebody's grandma. Each one of those calls is somebody's family member. So you really gotta give it your all for each person and do your best.
You know, at that point, I didn't know about Ken and Luke. I didn't know who the medics were that were also on the scene. And they're like, hey man, you gotta go see Ken and Luke, because they were the ones really orchestrating what was going on there. And came down here, and as luck would have it, as I pulled in the parking lot, there was an ambulance pulling in, and it was Ken and Luke. And I said, I just wanted to come down here and thank you guys. You know, gave them a big hug. You know, these people saved my life, and I'm going to thank them in person for what they did for me.
Where we need help from the public is to learn how to recognize the signs of a sudden cardiac arrest and to learn what to do when you see it. Even if it's just knowing how to recognize and knowing that you need to call 911, because those first few moments after a sudden cardiac arrest are vital. For every minute that that patient is without CPR, their chance of survival decreases by about 10%. We've met a few of our survivors to hear their stories, to hear their families, to get to embrace their families, because they've come to say thank you. And really, we're saying thank you because those people show us what we came here to do every day. They remind us why we train. They remind us why we all need to work together. It's just truly incredible, and I hope to see a lot more of that in the future.